These sequences are why you get into animation in the first place.
It took thousands of drawings to pull off.
We're about to go behind the animation with Back to the Outback.
Let's finish this.
Back to the Outback is a buddy comedy between the world's cutest koala, who's a little bit of a jerk, and the world's deadliest snake with a heart of gold. They, along with a few friends, escape a zoo and travel back to their home in the Australian Outback.
We got some deadly creatures to hunt. Where did they get that cool truck?
The scene that presented the biggest creative challenge for us was definitely the climactic chase at the end of the movie, involving a fire truck, motorcycles, bikers, and hundreds of animals. We just brainstormed all of these crazy, wacky ideas, like what could happen in this chase. And originally I did this pitch where there was just a kangaroo driving a motorcycle in the background. It was just a throwaway gag that got a laugh, and so it really opened it up to add more animals driving, and then that's where the idea of them commandeering this little motorcycle with the sidecar came in.
You had a vast landscape, but then it had to be approachable and relatable with very small characters. So we always managed to seat them in vehicles. They were always smaller than what they were doing.
Look, there! How do we turn this thing?
How would you turn a motorcycle quickly if you were a snake, a thorny devil, a spider, a scorpion, and a koala? It's a group effort because you can't hold the throttle and the steering and sit all at the same time. When you see Pretty Boy driving a fire engine, he's actually standing on the steering column to do it. So he's not just using his arms to drive the truck, but his feet and weight are shifting with that too.
Are we waiting for the ballet?
No, a flush.
Okay, sorry, what?
For the sewer escape, it was very important that we kept the energy going in the scene. We had to keep the camera moving, and most importantly, we had to keep the animals look like they're having fun. Even though they're surfing in dirty, stinky sewer water, they're just having the time of their lives. Everyone except Pretty Boy, of course, who's not used to getting dirt under his fingernails or mud on his fur.
We built a bunch of different pieces of sewer pipes, and we composited them all together, and we ran a camera through there. And that told us a lot about how fast they would move, where different actions would take if we needed to add more space there.
We used the saturation of the water itself and the brightness of the brick, and it brought a levity, and it helped convey the sense that the characters were experiencing freedom really for the first time.
In this box is one of Australia's deadliest creatures, and he's no bigger than my hand. Sting, sting.
The biggest challenge for designing characters for this movie was taking animals that are naturally scary or kind of a little off-putting and making them appealing, but not taking away the things that are honest about them.
There was reference that went into creating them and to modeling them, but always with a mind towards bringing out their more expressive characteristics. So a koala's ears would get larger, or the spines on the lizard would grow. It would come down to almost a caricature of playing up the things that would make them most original as characters.
Harry and Claire had a very clear vision for Legs, the spider, because they wanted her to be a femme fatale, and I think they were really drawn to silk aerialists who did these acrobatics on these silks, and we had that challenge of what do you do with all those legs? I went through the sequence quickly and just sketched in some poses to just establish where her body would be, where all those legs would go, how to get shapes that seemed like knees or ankles, and how to transition from one pose to the next and make these great web shapes that we see.
What kind of family is going to want a bunch of ugly bugs like you?
You're really mean.
We have these characters that lead dual lives. So first we see Pretty Boy. He's like a little toddler, big eyes, cute expressions. He walks around like a baby would. But then when you see him reveal his true colors, you see that baby posture slumped down into kind of a tired, middle-aged, jaded actor who's seen it all and done it all.
Chaz! Hot!
On the surface, Chaz is a rugged, outdoorsy Australian macho man, kind of a Steve Irwin type, but he's really not like what he claims to be. So it was fun to drop little hints along the way.
I never tracked a lion, or rhinos, or wolves.
He's got a little more defensive look on his face. His brows are up, his shoulders are slumped, his body slumped. He's even down at Chazzy's level. And it's fun playing one character design two different ways.
One of the characters that was like the most challenging to kind of really land was Jackie. She's like a saltwater crocodile. So it's that mix of how to get her to perform, to kind of make her theatrical, but also to have that like warm, motherly feel.
And how are my babies tonight? Maddie, I almost forgot.
Plus also in moments, you know, making her actually feel like she's scary and she has that weight and mass of a saltwater croc.
Ready to get out there and meet your public?
I'm gonna make you so proud out there.
Even though Maddie is a taipan snake, which is the deadliest snake in the world, she really wants to be loved. She's very insecure.
Please let them love me. Oh no, sit the bar lower, Maddie.
Maddie gets brought out into the show. She brings out her fangs, thinking that everyone would be impressed by them and she'd be loved and adored by the crowd. But then the opposite happens. They look at her like she's a monster.
Where's my son?
We actually draw Maddie differently when we're seeing her through the eyes of the audience from the people, pedestrians on the street. Normally throughout the movie, she's drawn with big, doughy eyes. She's just very pretty. But when we see from the audience's perspective, they're seeing the fangs. They're seeing the snake-like slits for eyes.
I'm not beautiful. I'm a monster.
She has no hands or legs, and it's like, how do you get her to emote? How do you get her to hold on to things or grab things? There's a lot of kind of very human expressions that she does, and she really only has her tail to make those.
We try to get little S-curves and little flourishes in the tip of her tail so that when she is gesturing to one side or pointing or something, we get this sort of elegant shape through her tail. We tried to have her carry her posture so that you got the feeling of like, here's a neck, and here's a chest, and here's a torso, and then where she contacts the ground would almost be like hips. We wanted to keep her tail off the ground and flip back and forth, almost like a young woman who is walking quickly might swing an arm or a ponytail or something.
Let's go get our friends back.